All right, folks, welcome back to Grindhead of the Grindhouse. Today, I am joined by Rob again because Rob is amazing as usual. We're going to be doing Raiders of the Lost Ark today. So, without further ado, if you are watching this on a Blu-ray or a DVD or a iPod or whatever the hell you're watching it on, make sure that that bad boy is all the way to the beginning because we're not waiting for some logo to fade or nothing because this entire movie from the very opening crawl of the Paramount logo is part of the visual storytelling. So just put that motherfucker to 0 and press play now. I absolutely love the fact that they always incorporated the Paramount logo into the opening credit. And like they just made it part of
It's
the
a
scene.
good thing.
It's an amazing thing. I have seen this movie probably more times than I've seen Lethal Weapon, which is saying something.
Wow.
Yeah. I
I didn't know that.
yeah. Like this is probably something that was really integral to me as a person. But when people ask me about my favorite movies, I never discuss it. Even because it's just like it's such a part of like my film love that I just assume everyone knows that for some reason. I don't know why. I never talk about it.
Yeah.
But this is probably one of my this is one of my favorite movies of all time. I mean, it's just if you like movies, you like this movie. That's just how it is. If you're into film on any level, you have to like this movie. And if you don't like movies. Sorry.
Yeah, I can't even imagine someone not liking this movie.
Yeah, what's not to
Like,
like?
is it even possible?
I don't think it is. And we don't have to worry about that because if you're listening to this commentary, you either like this movie, which is the most likely thing, or you like us, or both. And we're here.
I
So
mean,
now that
either. All of that is fine.
yeah, yes, exactly. So here we have good old Alfred here, um, who is an English actor. No, he's American, and he's playing someone from South America. And the next time I saw him on screen, to my knowledge, was when he played Doctor Octopus in Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
And I
That broke
didn't,
my brain a little bit the first time I
yeah,
found that out. Realized it.
yeah, because he looks so different, and his accent is really good. Um, just a good actor, really great actor. Craziness. Um, and the level of detail and like the costumes and the props, everything is just insane. So when you see this thing in high def or now in 4K, which just came out, what was it, the other day? You said?
Yeah, Tuesday. Came out
Yeah.
Tuesday the 8th?
All right, right on. So I haven't seen it in 4K yet because I don't have a 4K display of my own. What's your opinion of how it looks?
Well, it's just like a lot of, and this is something I was discussing with my wife earlier. What's strange is you've got the if you've got a scene or a shot with quick cuts, it looks amazing. But anytime you have a crossfade, it looks fuzzy.
Hmm.
It seems like every single old movie, the deterioration of the film or the picture quality whenever you do a crossfade in the old days, the way that they used to edit, it's always something that it's something I pick up on every single time.
That's
It's like
weird.
when you're watching something in 4K, it's an older movie, and suddenly the image looks soft. Look for that crossfade into the next shot. It's crazy how much that happens.
Hmm. Of all the things that you could you could take away from that delivery, like it never occurred to me that something like that would be softer than something else. Because I just think of film as a static object,
Well,
but it really isn't. But
yeah,
before,
and I can actually, I know that there's one scene or one shot in particular, and I'll point it out when we get there.
Okay.
It's obvious that the quality of the image is softer than the previous shot.
I don't know if you can
It's
see it
just
right
something that I've
here.
noticed ever
So
since
there,
I was a kid. And I never really understood it until I realized, oh, it's because of the process. They're basically overlaying film, on top of each other when they
mhm.
process it. It's just an
Yeah,
interesting byproduct of.
you can see here, like some of the movement gets a little blurry, um,
Mhm.
which is weird. I've never noticed that before. Before we get too far into this scene where he was at the entrance of the cave and he's putting the dirt into that pouch. When I was a kid, I used to dress up
Yeah.
as Indiana Jones, and I had a side bag and I had a jacket. It was a members only jacket. It was the closest thing to leather I could get. Um, and I had the tan shirt and my dad made me a bullwhip out of some nice rope and even had a hat that we had to custom fit from like an old cowboy hat we reformed into a fedora, which was kind of cool. But anytime I'd go playing, as Indiana Jones, in my side pouch, I had a little drawstring bag and I would put dirt into it. I always did that. It was just part of my plaything. And it just, for me, was just one of the coolest little deals. And I buy all of Melina's reactions in this. Like, it doesn't feel forced
Oh,
at
he's
all.
great.
Oh,
He's
he's
really great.
such a good actor, man. Great matte painting there. I just
Yeah.
love Indy. He's just pissed. He's like, "Come on, dude." He's like, "Get it together, bro."
I love the fact that the idea of stay out of the light. It's a very it just doesn't make any sense. You're telling me that the whoever built this temple built in proximity sensors? Really?
Essentially, yeah,
Because that doesn't make sense to me.
yeah. I don't understand how
That
that
it's
mechanism
for
works
some
at
reason as a
all.
kid you believe it.
Yeah, you just. It's
Yeah,
also
I
just a
remember as a
really
kid
cool
it was
line.
something. Yeah.
Like I tried to figure it out in my head, and I was like, "Fuck it, you broke my brain. I don't care." I love the sound of this. Just something about that arrow, that
Ben
little
Burt,
dart
man.
hitting that torch. Something about the like. I remember there was a
And
door
you know what that
stopper.
sound is?
Mm-mm.
Well, it's either a doorstop, but you know what it reminds me of is when I used to do this all of the time as a kid. You have a ruler on a desk and you hit the ruler,
Oh yeah.
you know?
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's what it sounds like to me. Oh, and by the way, I will geek out about the sound in many times in this commentary
Oh, me
because I'm a
too.
big Ben Burt fan.
I am
Uh,
also a Ben Burt fan. I'm also a huge John Williams fan. Um, the soundtrack of this is so integral to like everything I know about music. Um, I actually I remember buying this on CD. I pre-ordered it when they re-released it in '95, which had the most complete version of the score available at that point. And now the only way to get it
yep.
is there was this complete collection of all the Indiana Jones scores put together. They put it out like 10, 15 years ago or something. And they pressed it like very limited. And you can't get it anymore unless you want to pay like $200 for it. It's just stupid. I don't understand. This stuff
Mhm.
should be, it belongs in a museum. Wrong movie, but
Oh yeah.
God, this shot is so good. Well, you the whip, throw me idol. I tell you to do it. You the whip, audio senor. Here it is. And the thing is, when he said, I throw you the whip, until just now, for years, I have thought he said, I tell you to do it. Throw me the idol, I tell you to do it. Instead of, I'll throw you the whip. I don't know why. My brain heard it that way for 44 years, but here we are. Well, not 44 years because the movie wasn't even out when I was born, but you know what I mean. Um, I saw this. My parents tell me I first saw this as a double feature with Empire Strikes Back at a drive-in. I don't remember it. We saw it again in '84 off of ABC television. is the next time that I saw it. And then,
Like, look at that. That's super violent for a PG movie. Don't,
well,
yeah.
all right, all right, all right. Before we started rolling, um, we were talking about how this probably would have been a PG-13 film if PG-13 existed at the time.
For sure.
And I was like, "Well, it's a PG movie." He's like, "Yeah, then because PG-13 didn't exist." And he's right, of course. Um, but man, like we're just talking through
In
like
fact,
all these
Temple of Doom was
iconic
the first
moments.
PG-13 movie.
That's right, exactly.
And the sound of the ball is Ben Burt hanging out of the side of a car
Mm-hmm.
as it's riding down a gravel, you know, and he's recording the sound of the tire on the gravel. And
Yep.
that's the sound. And of course, he adds some bass to it and all that. But,
Mm-hmm.
and Belloc.
Pimp Hat. He's like, "Check me out."
I like how everything has spider web on it,
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And
even attached to the gun.
yep, yep. And the pacing of these edits is such masterful storytelling. Um, you know, and watching it actively, not passively, like I normally do. Because any movie I know really well, I tend to just kind of put off to the side and just enjoy it in the background. I don't actively watch movies all that much. But actively watching this, like you just see all the attention to detail. That's like the best maniacal laughter ever.
Oh, it's amazing.
You're just
And of
like,
course, Paul Freeman. The
yep,
the next time that I saw Paul Freeman was in Hot Fuzz. You know, when he plays the
yeah,
priest in
yeah,
Hot
same,
Fuzz.
same. That's the only other thing I believe I've seen him in. Um, Great actor, I tell you.
OBCPO on the side of that plane.
Yep, yep. Lots of Star Wars references in here for sure. Um, he calls him Jock. I thought his name was Jacques, like the French for Jack.
No,
Really? I'm learning things. This is crazy.
Harrison Ford's scream. I love his scream.
Oh yeah, like his just clear exasperation. Um, like one of my favorite ones after this whole Jock start the engine stuff. Is when in Last Crusade, we're not going on the boat. No, he throws the back at him.
Yeah.
We're not going on the boat.
No, Dad. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't call me Junior. And I think it's
So
interesting.
good.
I think it's really interesting to watch this film, especially in context with the others. Now because you know how his story kind of goes. And of course, this big snake in the plane, Jock. I hate snakes, Jock. I hate them. Crazy. Some of the best lines. Larry Kasdan came in and did a lot of script doctoring for this. He didn't actually write it from scratch. The story was by somebody else, and Lucas was working with him, and then that guy had to go off and do something. So like the story ideas and the skeleton of the story was in place, but Larry Kasdan came in and kind of fleshed it out. But I find that interesting. Once again, like with Star Wars, you have this unique mix of circumstances that produce something that is just a classic. Um, Famously, uh, Spielberg always wanted to direct a James Bond film, and George Lucas, of course, said, "Oh, yeah, I got the next best thing, Steve." And he talks about this idea, and they went ahead and did it. And I was reading or heard something that always stuck with me is like that they couldn't get this film financed anywhere because the studios did not believe that they could make this for 50 million or 20 million or whatever it was. They're like, you're gonna go over budget, and that's a bad investment on our part. There's no way you can shoot this like that, especially with Steven Spielberg. He's got a reputation for going over budget and everything else. And George is like, no, and he argued it through, and um, ended up happening with Paramount for whatever reason. And this was a film that George really kind of championed and said, Steve, this is how you're going to be able to prove that you can make your movie on time and under budget. And Steve did, because he felt it was a really big deal. And I always thought that was a cool friendship piece.
Well, that and I love the fact that he intentionally shot things quickly and just said, let's do this. I mean, and just trying to, I don't know. It's like, to me, some of the best amazing stuff. It's something I've been thinking about a lot lately. Is sometimes the simplest version of something is the best. So when you come up with an idea for a shot or a scene or whatever, you visualize it really quickly. And usually that first visualization is probably the best one. Some of
Right.
the, look, I wrote back in the day, I used to write a ton of songs. And the songs that I spent the most time on, people didn't like.
Right.
But like, if there's one song that I wrote a long time ago, amazing, amazingly short amount of time I spent on this song, it's the one that it's everybody's favorite. It's the one I like the least, and it's and it's the one I spent the least time on. So it's just one of those things. I think the simplest version is usually the best.
Yeah, I think that spark of
And this scene,
inspiration.
holy crap.
Yeah, like just wow. Um, like just even if we take away just the wonderful exposition piece, and I just focus on that damn Bible, it's like wow, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Um, just like who made that? Because it wasn't laying around, that's for sure. And I
This
someone.
is Oh,
Hmm?
go ahead.
No, you're fine.
Oh, I was just going to say real quick. This is one of my favorite scenes in the movie, and it's all exposition.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the way that it's shot. It's the way that the camera almost leans in, to hear more, and it's just, for some reason, you can't take your eyes off of it, and you're
Nope.
so like drawn into this. It's so amazing the way that this is shot and edited. It's great. But
By the
anyway,
way, isn't
sorry,
that
I
Porkins?
interrupted you.
No, you're fine. That's what these are for. Like you just talked. It's fine. That's Porkins, isn't it?
It is. It is.
Uh-huh. The little details here too. Like I like the way that uh Marcus mouths to Indy. He says, "It's Tannis." He's like, "Found it," and he's like the
Yeah.
boyhood. Uh, like Indy goes into indie mode here. And he's just like, "This is what it is, and this is what it does. How about this?" And like, I love the way that he delivers this line. Did he ever go to Sunday school? He's like, "Come on."
Yep.
Well, Ugh. And it's weird. Like I want to watch this, and there's so much I want to say that I'm speechless because I just can't articulate how amazing this film is. To me, like it's such an important thing. And what was interesting to me as well is that all this exposition about what the arc is, it basically informs you. It just says, here's what the arc is, here's why it's important, here's who
Hmm.
our villains are, here's what we're trying to do. Like you get everything in this one scene, and but it's entertaining, and you never feel pandered to with a lot of exposition. Um, but this is so dense. There's like so
But it's
much
also
information.
yeah, and it's very much like the way that we talked about with James Cameron,
Mm-hmm.
where he sets up something and shows you how things are like, hey, this is what we're going to do in the next hour, okay? And it's almost like that's what this is right here, because it's an explanation of pretty much the whole movie. And these are the dangers. This is what the map room is like. This is what you know what I mean? All that stuff. It's
Mm-hmm.
amazing. It's an amazing storytelling device. And it's expertly done.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all this right here.
Yeah, with the staff of Raw and everything, and And you don't have to have that cutaway of the officer like being interested, but it helps sell the idea that they really um, know they've come to the right place and everything. Great. It's exactly what the Nazis are looking for.
I like how he opens it up right to the right page too.
Oh
It's
yeah,
just something I always.
I think that was
there
an
it is, right
I
there.
think that was an editing trick, to be honest.
Well, right, but I mean, it's just.
Yes,
It's
like
like,
just what the
hey, who are we
Hebrews
gonna go
thought.
see? Oh, I don't know. But here, I'm gonna open up this book directly to the place where.
Right. Lightning, fire, power god, or something. That's great.
And I think it's always important to have your hero character almost not believe
Mm-hmm.
what the task is. You know what I mean? And not believe in what the power. Like, I mean, he does the same thing in Temple of Doom. You know, he
Yeah.
starts off not believing. It's just a cool stone that I can put in a museum and make money off of. But no, and he's like at the end, he's like, oh yeah, I understand the power now. You know, it's just
Mm-hmm.
another storytelling device, and it helps you endear yourself to the character too.
Not to mention that he gets to play not only
I've
our
always loved this scene too.
yeah, like okay, spoilers, guys. We love every scene of this movie. Okay, um, we just do. And remember, like the attention to detail with which
This
they
look.
recreated his house in Last Crusade, because
Mm-hmm.
because this is a really detailed house, and I love the built-in bookshelves and everything. You can see like all these little relics and everything else. And this is on screen for what 5 minutes, if that. And it's just this
Now,
rich, deep. You know, I love this so much. I'm gushing.
okay, I have a question for you
Yeah,
because I think I remember somewhere that like I think they cut it out, of course, but the reason he's wearing a robe is because he was entertaining a lady. Now, is that something that for some reason I just had that in my head. I'm like, "Oh yeah." Is that
I've
something that they just cut out or is it something that's in the novelization? I don't know where I got that, but
I would
I
venture a
remember
guess that was in the novelization because I've never read the novelization and I've never heard that before.
mm,
And that's not really a robe; that's a smoking jacket, and he has pants on. You see,
mm,
so
I don't know. Maybe I just made that up.
maybe you did. We'll
Now
never know.
here's something that always used to bother me.
Hmm.
Here's something that always used to bother me in that last scene.
Yeah.
The way that Marcus talks in the whole beginning of the movie,
Mm-hmm.
I always felt like he was, I don't know, someone on Indy's level as a younger man.
Like really
But
sharp.
then they
Yeah.
portray him in Last
Yeah.
Crusade as being kind of a bumbling idiot.
Yeah. It bugs the shit out of me. I don't
I
like
think
that
that's
at
one of the
all.
reasons why I've
That's Dennis
never.
Murin. That's Dennis
You don't
Murin.
like that? Okay,
That's Dennis Murin.
where?
Playing Tote.
Right there
Yeah,
with
that was
the
Dennis. Yeah, that wasn't the.
huh?
Yeah, that wasn't Lacey as Tote. That's actually and they even say like it's supposed to be Tote in that shot, but it's Dennis Murin because they couldn't get
Hmm.
the actor that played Tote to do it. So they just yeah, which I don't believe that that's actually supposed to be Tote personally, but it's supposed to be somebody following him. But it is Dennis Murin, which is
Yeah,
really cool.
I've never thought of it that way, but hey,
Yeah. My first exposure ever to
it's
Nepal
just
as a country, it was this movie. Didn't even know it existed
yeah,
until I
me
saw
too.
this movie, you know? I
And I
mean,
thought
granted,
everybody was just an alcoholic.
yeah, right. And for the first
But
like couple years that I was a fan of the movie, like I was always under the impression this was just a kind of butch woman that Marion was drinking against, and it it is in fact a man, but because he looks like he looks like an old lady, doesn't he?
there's a weird. He's definitely got a unique look. I will say that.
Yeah, for sure.
Karen Allen is so great.
Oh yeah, really. Pistole. Pistole.
Pistole.
Ah, heiny hey. Just, like
Yeah,
that's the thing. Like,
we may
just start reciting the
well,
movie.
it's
Yeah.
funny too. The way that this movie has, like, movies like this, when we were young, I used to watch it all the time as well.
Mm-hmm.
There's little things that have stuck in your head. It's one of the things that there you go, you're kind of old lady looking.
Old lady guy. We'll call him
But
old lady guy.
the beginning of the movie, when Alfred Molina pulls the arrow out and he's like, "Poison's still fresh, 3 days." The way he says it, so
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah, and it's not like
It's
deliberate in the way
something
like
that
actors sometimes do. It's just conversational and natural and
right.
organic. Those hats always like I'm like, who designed those? Like, who decided that was how the hat should be? I'm sure it's culturally appropriate and
I don't
everything,
know.
but I'm just like, when you're making a hat, what makes you want to put those points on the front? I don't get it, but they're so neat. Hello, Marion.
He's so big.
Yeah. Indiana Jones is 20 feet tall in Raiders of the Lost Ark. Speaking of which, how do
But
you
the way that
feel?
these are framed, these
Yeah, great shot. How do you feel about the retconning of the title of this movie to where it's Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark instead of just Raiders of the Lost Ark? I hate that.
I ignore it.
I don't acknowledge it exists.
Yeah, I just ignore it. I mean, to me it's kind of like, in a way I get it, because especially in a shop and they're alphabetized, you want them all in the same place,
Yeah, I get that.
but
And
no,
also, too, like
I don't like it.
the movie is, over 40 years old at this point, and for someone who's never seen it, they may not have the context. They may not know, right? Um,
Right.
and that's one of those things with a lot of these films that we're going to be talking about, and we have talked about, like these classics that we grew up with that we just assume everybody knows. There is a large portion of the living human populace that has never seen this movie, and that's a crime.
Fantastic. Just, I mean, it's so good in so many levels.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot of shot glasses, man. I mean,
Yeah.
granted, she's got a bar. I get it, but just wow.
Yeah.
But it always kind of struck me
Why
as
didn't you take
odd.
the rest of them off her tray
Well,
there?
right, right. But it always struck me as kind of odd that she does not have. And this is such a nitpick, okay? Because this is a masterfully acted scene, but there's like no indication whatsoever that she's been drinking like 30 shots of liquor in this scene.
Right.
There's just none, except perhaps this part, because I said so. That's why. Just kind of like, like I'm a little drunk right now, Indy. Can you come back later?
Yeah.
So,
Oh, and there's a lot of ADR in this too.
oh
Something
yeah,
I've noticed when recent rewatch,
mm-hmm.
and of course I mean, it's kind of it seems obvious to like you and me now,
Right.
especially knowing that how movies are made. The technology wasn't as good back then, but
No.
man, if it's outside, it's almost guaranteed that it's going to be ADR.
Mm-hmm. So when
What a
when
beautiful
Indy,
shot.
yeah, when Indy leaves the
Oh, and there's
bar,
a little flub there, continuity error.
mm-hmm.
It was around her neck, then it was just hanging down
Yep,
by her hand.
yep. When Indy leaves the
But yeah,
bar, I I've always felt that the only reason story wise that he leaves is so he can come back. You know what I mean? Because like if he was there when these guys get there, you don't get any of this cool character stuff. He just starts shooting them.
right.
Not thirsty.
What an amazingly creepy
Oh
performance.
man. Must have slipped his mind. See, when I used to smoke cigarettes, anytime I would speak with a cigarette in my mouth, I would totally be channeling Marion Ravenwood. I'm just telling you right now.
Heck yeah.
I don't think anyone spoke with a cigarette in their mouth is as good ever. No, but I know where it is. Just I wish I could zoom in on that Jack Daniels bottle to see if the label was period appropriate. Because when's the last time that label ever changed? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I have no idea.
Yeah. Oh. Okay, here's another thing where my young mind screwed me up on something. He said, Fraulein Ravenwood, let me show you what I'm used to. What I thought he said as a kid was, Fraulein with a word, let me show you what I'm used to. Weird, right?
Yeah. Well, it's just like I used to get lyrics wrong as a kid.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Same thing.
Mm-hmm. That smile, look at that guy. Ugh. Okay. This is a classic, 30s serial kind of thing. Because the iron bar was right next to her face. Like an inch from her face.
Yeah.
But then he whips it away and it's like 2 foot away from her face. Like, whatever. And I love how they give Indiana's weapon, the revolver, like the hero Foley, because it's like
Yeah,
handguns don't sound like
deep
that.
sound.
Yeah, like what? Like no, like guns don't sound like that.
Well, they said that it's actually a Winchester. That's what that sound is.
Mm-hmm.
The sound of a Winchester rifle. And look at that. There's no way in a PG movie they would show a bullet hit in the head. No way.
No, definitely not.
Not these days.
Nope. A woman with priorities right there.
Yep.
There he is.
I'm telling you, as you watch this movie again, or hopefully not the first time you're getting everything ruined by us, but
right.
But yeah, just look at the efficiency of some of these shots, the storytelling, the camera moves, it's just unbelievable, and the camera is always moving.
Yep.
The pacing of this movie is just ridiculous. It's so good. I mean,
yeah,
I love that.
I don't
shadows.
Does movie making get any better than this movie? I don't think so. I don't think there's a better movie than this. I got to be honest. In terms of like, when we're talking about storytelling and keeping pacing and attention and everything. I mean, there are
visual storytelling. Yeah,
exactly. So, like in terms of like visual storytelling, I don't think you beat this in terms of telling movement, action, things like that. Certainly, there's more influential films. There's more like films with more depth for sure. But in terms of like, I want to watch a film, I want to have a good story told to me visually. I don't think this could ever be beat.
Not for a lack of trying.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, it's not like you don't see any refrigerators or nuclear explosions in this movie.
Right.
Right. There's our dissolve shots.
Yeah, these aren't as noticeable because it almost has a vintage look to these shots. The one that I'm speaking about in particular, it's very glaring especially if you're watching it in 4K because of that. The previous shot is so clear, and then all of a sudden it's blurry again. But that's blurry right there.
Yep. Now, here's one of the coolest things about
and as soon as it
movie.
cuts,
Yep. So you notice all those roofs and everything. It's not a matte painting. That's actual, Tunisia where they were shooting. Tunisia for Cairo, and this was shot in the late 70s, early 80s. Well, there were TV antennas all over those buildings and things of that nature, and the crew went out and took down every single antenna and not period architecture out of the frame for these just couple shots, and then they put them all back up. No CG, no matte paintings, no blue screen, just good old fashioned elbow grease. Pretty crazy, right?
Oh yeah. I see. This is all ADR.
Mm-hmm. And it's really good ADR.
Yeah. Well, I think some of it is ADR. Some of it has got to be because that ADR would be too perfect.
Yeah.
But there's some of it that's definitely ADR. It's weird.
I can't stop watching this dialogue.
He's John Rice Davies, of course, Gimli in Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm.
Probably one of his most famous roles outside of this, out
Right.
of being Sulla.
He was also in the TV show Sliders. I hated that show.
I don't. There you go.
Hated that show. But he's done all kinds of stuff, and just a
Oh yeah.
great actor. This. I was boning up on some material about the Raiders of the Lost Ark toys that came out from Kenner after this came out, and there were more than I remember. Like they actually did have the monkey. Like when you got Marion Ravenwood, she came in the white dress, and she had that monkey with her, which that doesn't make a lot of sense. But then if you got the play set
Yeah.
for the marketplace, it had like a couple baskets, and there was like this solid, unarticulated
Yeet 'em.
it's a date. You eat them. Yeah, I get you. But
Yeah.
you actually had like this little balled up Marion that you could. I can't even finish my story. This movie moves so fast. By the time I'm done talking about the last scene, I want to talk about the next scene. But it came with this little rubber Marion piece you could put into the baskets and stuff. Pretty cool attention to detail. And this
Right.
guy came with that set and stuff. I remember distinctly in 1985 being in a Toys R Us, and we're in the back of the store, like where all the clearance stuff is. And on the wall, you had like Universal Monsters figures from Remco. You had Raiders of the Lost Ark, and it was almost all of the stuff. And a couple other like kind of obscure things. I ended up getting one of the Universal monsters. But I remember the Indiana Jones stuff being really like marked down. And my mom was like, "Don't you want this?" I was like, "No, I'd rather get this, whatever." I'm a dumb kid because those toys are worth a lot, because they're so hard to come by.
Well, I mean, yeah. How many toys did we have as a kid that are worth like that? You know,
Oh, don't get me started
we
on
didn't
that.
know.
But
We didn't know any better.
No, I knew enough. Like I had the Superpowers collection first run. My parents got that for me for Christmas that year, and they gave it away without telling me.
Choreography in this.
Oh yeah,
Jeez.
way better than my parents' choreography of my toy collection. Um, but
Like this right here.
Yeah, with the sword.
Really? He stabbed apples through him or whatever that was?
Right.
I mean, come on.
But it's a fun action movie. What do you care?
Oh no, it's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. But it's just the visually just so interesting. So much being done.
Frying
It's so
pan.
quick and efficient.
Doink.
That's that's almost very,
Almost
Star
slapstick.
Wars if you think about it.
Yeah.
With Han running around the corner and the
Mm-hmm.
stormtroopers are there, and he's like, ah,
Right.
same sort of
Exactly.
thing. It's weird. It's very similar.
This monkey gets the fuck around. By the way, like they're running all over the place. The monkey just happens to be there, and he's like, "Yo, she's in here, stupid." Like, what's funny to me is that like, how does like the Nazi guy like how why does he hold like the monkey in such high regard as a trusted operative that he just stops cold?
I don't.
I don't, but like you just buy
There's
it.
that
Like,
yelling again.
yep. Oh, okay. So this scene, we're waiting for this one. So famously, this is probably one of the most uh just famous scenes of Indiana Jones ever. Now, here's the thing. It was originally scripted as a sword fight, but Harrison Ford was deathly ill from like food poisoning that day. It was like, I can't do, can I just shoot him? And then Steven's like, yeah, just shoot him. That's what Indiana Jones would do, wouldn't he? He wouldn't have a sword fight. He would just shoot him. Shoot him. And that's what they did. One take.
Yep.
And it's because of food poisoning.
It's like, I love you, I know.
Yep.
It's,
Yep.
again, simple little things. And how many of those, did we have on the day shooting out there?
Oh, yeah. And that's
Sorry,
the thing.
we're not talking Game Chasers today.
No, definitely not. But you're right. When you're in the moment as an actor, once you get to know a character, you kind of go, wait a minute, what would they do in this situation? Um, and how many things has Harrison Ford contributed to in that way? Like we'll never know. Those are the two most famous ones, but clearly like a really, really like craftsman when it comes to his performances. You'll notice the guy right there smiling. That always threw me off because they're supposed to be mad at him and he's smiling. Like, why? Come on. Whoops. Sorry about your
This
chest there,
always
buddy.
kind of bothered me.
Yeah. Like, why does the truck blow up?
No, well, there's a bunch of explosives back there for sure.
Yeah, but why does it blow up?
Why would you want to get in that truck?
Ever. Yeah. Well, we've got the
Yeah.
American and,
Yeah.
we got some bombs with us too, just in case you need more, And here's Indiana Jones petting and loving on the monkey that essentially, as far as he knows, is responsible for her death.
Well, he doesn't know that.
I know he doesn't know that. We know that, though. Kind of weird, though. And I think Frank Welker did the monkey noises. I think. I don't know, though. Could be wrong. Because it sounds like him.
Yeah, there's
lots of Foley of that monkey, and I know Ben Burtt didn't do that. He's on a monkey. But if you listen to like right here, now go back. Now think about Aladdin when Frank Welker did Apu or Abu. Sorry, very similar vocalization. So. Hookah bar.
Now look at the camera placement in this whole scene.
Oh yeah,
it is insane.
It's really good framing.
Yes.
Hey,
I like
sit down
how
before you fall down.
Harrison Ford is basically when Indy's been drinking, he basically sounds like a cowboy now.
Yeah,
they're not gonna interfere with our
business.
All of a sudden, he's John Wayne.
Yep, and it's subtle, but you could definitely tell he's a little off, and he's pissed off. He's an angry drunk.
Right here.
Yeah,
this shot.
With
Let's
the gun.
pass the gun. Ah, love it.
Try the local sewer. Oh, the "you and I are not so different" speech. This might be like one of the first ones in American filmmaking. One of the first ones. So I know there's like a couple of them in like the early Bond film, right? Like where the villain's like, "Hey, you and I are very much alike."
One take.
I love this point here where he just says, "This is nothing. It's nothing. If I bury it in the sand for 1,000 years, it becomes priceless." And like, like it would be easy to focus to between the characters as they're talking, but this whole time, Indy's out of focus. The cool little visual cue. It kind of represents that he's drunk, represents that he's at a low point in his story, and Belloc is just razor sharp. And now you see Indy in focus, and he's like, "Oh, okay, it's like that." It's really cool, and there's those subtle little things you can do with a camera that you may not have noticed it, but it affects you, and how the story is told. Like the little tiny things.
So good.
Yeah,
But think about how much has transpired in just the last 10 minutes.
yeah.
How much storytelling has happened.
Hmm.
Like, oh, we save you from the thing? Okay, let's go see the old man. Bam, 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 bam. So much information. Bam, bam, bam.
I never understood why the mercenaries just come out of the bar and just kind of watch them get into the truck. I don't understand that.
Hmm. Me neither. Never really thought about it. But it
Hmm.
is kind of funny.
And I'm sorry, a bunch of kids rescuing an American is not that funny that they're still laughing like 5 minutes later. Sorry, but that's fine. I always
Okay,
wondered
here we
what
go.
kind.
One shot.
Yep, this is a one shot deal. So good.
One shot.
Yep.
And look at how long this shot takes. All of the movement, the choreography to get this right.
Mm-hmm.
Storytelling device, dates, pour them in a pan, put the bowl down, go out of frame,
Open the door.
open the door. I mean, it's just like, wow. When you really pay attention, it's like, oh my God.
Rack focus.
Camera
All that
pans up
stuff.
to show the thing, focus, change focus. Yep. I
Insert
mean,
shot. And we're
and
back to
finally we
that
got a
same
cut.
shot. Yep.
But that's still one shot.
Yep. They just had to insert
Cameraman's still doing work.
for real. It's
So
insane.
efficient.
Yep. I always wondered what kind of poison was on the date. But I didn't have a date until
Mm.
probably 11 years ago or so. I just
The
never
camera
had one.
pans over to show the dates.
Mm-hmm.
The dates in the center of the frame. And watch. It's like the camera's following that date now.
Mm-hmm.
It's not following Indy, it's following the date. Just it's so smart.
Yep.
You've never had a date before, you said?
I hadn't until about 11 years ago, and now they're one of my favorites. I love them
Mm.
so much.
I know. I love dates too.
It's so good. This little character, this little guy, the
Mm-hmm.
little Sanskrit expert or whatever, he just gives me a warm feeling. He just seems so friendly and nice. And take back one kadam to honor the Hebrew god whose ox is he.
And he almost ate that date when he said wait,
Yep.
which almost makes it, I don't know. Is it
He's
a divine thing?
could
Was
be.
God speaking through that man
Who
to make
knows?
him stop? And you at this point you almost forget about the date, which is
Yep.
great.
Exactly. And that's what you're supposed to think. I'm the man of the sea. And boom. Good catch. A really good catch.
So good.
Bad dates. Like, so
So
observant.
good.
Look at this. Look at this shot. It's just a long kind of pan. Like, I guess it's
Yeah,
on a
look at all
dolly.
those extras.
Right. Like, can you imagine having to wrangle all of those people?
Nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Dietrich's first scene.
Mm-hmm. Great character.
Yeah.
I just love the way he says that. Always reminded me of Garfield for some reason. No, they're not kidding, are they? Look at all this action. It's crazy.
Yes.
Now this is where my disbelief is suspended pretty hard for this part because they have this cordoned off. You trying to tell me that there's no one like keeping watch on this thing because they know he's in the area? You trying to tell me no one's watching this?
I thought the same thing
Yeah,
many times.
that might be one of the only optical. There's very very few opticals in this, and I think that was one of them when he dropped the
Yep.
staff in there.
It was actually pretty shoddy, actually.
Yeah, you can
You
see
know,
the matte lines and everything.
didn't look great.
No, but it told the story. It's fine.
Yeah, got the point across.
Uh,
Sometimes that's all you need.
Aside from the desert chase music, this is probably my favorite piece of Indiana Jones music. Obviously the theme reigns supreme about everything, but aside
Yeah.
from that, desert chase in this easily do my everything. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I was actually in a thrash band that all of the lyrics on the first record were about Indiana Jones. Every last one. The band is even named Sala.
Hey, finally.
Yeah, like how long did it take you, bro? But I love Sally just like, oh, I don't know what's going on. Like, I don't get it. Like, what's the problem? Well, I'm dumb. Look at me. Brr, 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 brr.
Yeah, the music here is just absolutely genius. It sticks in your head. I'll probably be humming this for the next week and a half. Anytime I'm trying to figure out something.
Right?
Now, how much butter do I need to add to the pan?
Like all this stuff, like really should be boring. This boring archaeology stuff that he's just trying to figure out, but the music and the editing it makes it look really exciting and interesting.
Oh, and that's one of the other things too. If you really want to get technical, you'd have to be not only in a certain place at a certain time of day, but you'd have to be in a certain month
Mm-hmm.
of the year, certain day of the year for this to line up. But hey, movie magic, it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's still just and I love you can see where they've marked it on the
Yeah.
kind of big building there.
Yeah, for the
But then
first couple of years as a kid I
you
was
see it
watching
coming
that.
down.
Yeah, I saw that and I thought it was like a continuity error, like someone had spray painted something for whatever reason. I just didn't think that it was meant to indicate the Germans markings or whatever, but it totally was. But you'll see this graffiti looking mark. Yeah, right there. Like for whatever reason in my
Yep.
brain that wasn't supposed to be there.
Always loved that effect. I always thought that was so cool.
Yeah, it's probably one of the best effects in any movie. once again, all he's doing is writing in a book, but the music makes it feel like it's like super exciting, super smart here. Snap.
Yeah, if you break that, there's no way they could estimate how long that stick was supposed to be.
I mean,
It's a good idea.
you,
But there's no reason for them to come back down there,
right.
at least right now.
But it was just smart to just, break it. He should have taken it with him, but, stuff happened. I was always really impressed with, like, the way that, I'm not sure if you would call that a turban or what the actual word is. I apologize for not knowing what these are called. But, like I have no idea how one would wrap that in such a way to make it work in the way that it does. I've always fascinated by that for whatever reason. Like, I just think those are the coolest face coverings ever.
You kind of need one in the Texas summers.
Yeah, really. I love how they explain her existence as, oh, you switch baskets. Never show it. Like, there's no, like, how if we look at things the way that it transpired in the film just a few moments ago, which is crazy. um it doesn't make sense that she switched baskets. When would she have done that? But one line of dialogue, would you switch baskets? And that's it. We just buy it as an audience because, like, the movie's just like, come along, it's just dragging us along for the ride.
Or it could be a situation where maybe early in the script they decided, you know what, let's not kill her off. Maybe that was part of the script
mm,
earlier. I mean, who knows?
that's true. That's a good point. Could have happened. And
I
once
don't know,
again,
man. She is so integral to later scenes
yeah.
that that may have not been the case, but
Well,
who
these are supposed
knows?
to
I
pay.
mean,
These are paying homage to old serials. They didn't always make sense either. So that's it. Like, I just love, like, how long we linger on him finding it like that. Like, you didn't have to do
yeah.
that, but it works. Man, just ruthless Nazis, ruthless Nazis.
Hey, Paul, your forehead is shiny.
Yeah, man. Oh, I just realized
What is
why.
that has got on his head?
It looks like eye coverings, so that the sand doesn't get in his eyes. Which this is the first time I've ever noticed it. I always thought it was sweat.
Mm.
I always thought it was sweat, but I couldn't figure out what that little band was across his forehead. Like, I thought, is that supposed to be for sweat or something? It's the frame that holds those glasses together. It's crazy. I've never seen that before ever.
Mm.
It's nuts.
And I think this is the shot, if I'm not mistaken. That's like to the previous scene, which it's not so evident on what we're watching here, but in 4K, it's very evident. Or no. So this is all right there. It gets blurry.
Like,
And I was like, why is
right,
this so blurry
like right
in
as the dissolve.
4K? And it's because there's a dissolve coming.
Crazy.
And dissolve.
Yep.
Weird.
Very weird. But it's a chemical
How
process,
much
right? So
stupid trivia are you going to learn by watching a movie with Rob?
yeah, right, right. And how many things did my young mind hear totally wrong as a kid? Here's blue screen shot. Not the best, but it worked.
Yeah, this is it's weird how 4K makes some of this stuff just painfully obvious. You can see those really rough matte lines around his jacket there.
Hmm. But it's still a cool shot.
God
Like
is
the
upset. Don't
Hmm?
disturb the Ark.
Yeah, right. I love the sound when the gas escapes or when the air escapes.
Yeah,
So good.
it's very Star Wars-ish,
Oh yeah.
but Ben Burt. But
Watch your toes.
yeah, it's so cool though.
This is such a great review. I love it. That. Sorry, Indy. But from an architectural standpoint, like, um, why would you have like a lid on the roof like that when it's supposed to be entered presumably?
That's a
You know what I mean?
it's a good question. Movie magic?
Yeah, yeah. Hollywood revisionists rewriting Egyptian history. Fucks. Snakes. Why have to be snakes?
By the
Hey,
way, you know
hmm.
how again, another in our experience
Yes.
shooting the movie,
Yes.
the lightning, you know how the lightning the
Yep.
keep an eye on that. It's kind of funny. You notice how it's like it's very flash flash flash.
Mm-hmm. Oh
Pause,
yeah. Oh yeah.
pause, pause, flash flash flash. It's
Mm-hmm.
funny.
Oh yeah. This whole sequence is great. And apparently, Karen Allen helped come up with it. Actually, because she was like, because there's apparently it was just going to be she actually overpowers him with the knife or threatens him with the knife. But she was like, I don't think that she would go straight to that. That would be a backup plan. She's just going to try and drink him under the table. I always wondered what she was eating there. Like some of it is obviously fruit, looks like some kind of a biscuit kind of thing or whatever. But like the little details, I just wanted to know what she was eating.
Oh yeah.
She almost had a New York accent. What do you got to drink around here? Perv. I'm just gonna stare at her bare back. Must not get a lot of action in archaeology. No.
I don't know. Billoc's a pretty smooth guy though.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And of course, she goes up the old knife there. Like she just got some bananas. And I rather enjoy the fact that they reveal that he's a wino. Just,
Yeah.
I grew up with this. It's my family label. And again, as a kid, I wasn't sure if he was being serious or if he was joking. Just the look on his face, like, come on down, Indy. Hang out with us. So
You
famously,
know what's
when
funny too?
yeah,
So go ahead, go ahead.
I was gonna say that like they didn't have enough snakes, and Steven had to get like I don't know, like 30,000 more snakes. They didn't have enough snakes to cover the floor. And of course, there's the reflection that's been removed. The only special edition kind of thing that they've done with this, which I actually advocate that get rid of that little reflection when he hits the deck. But you were
Yeah.
saying?
And in 4K, it looked amazing. Yeah, it looked really, really, really good. But yeah, they used garden hoses and all kinds of stuff to kind of supplement fake snakes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I bet people that are in PETA just lose their minds for that shot.
Yeah.
No, don't burn the snakes. No, you shouldn't burn the snakes. Obviously, they didn't hurt.
And Ben Burt was talking about how snakes don't they don't vocalize very much, so a
Mm-mm.
lot of that had to be just kind of it's just Foley stuff.
Oh yeah. I was always confused. Was this supposed to be wine, or was this supposed to be liquor? Now, if he
I think
grew
it's
up with
supposed to be some
this,
sort of vodka or something. I don't
I'm
know.
guessing. But like, if
Or
he grew up
whiskey.
with
I don't
that,
know. I don't know.
I don't. But if he grew up with that, he should be. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's so
Should be
weirdly
used to it.
detailed. Yeah, you would think. Just tosses the torch down like bucket. Here's the arc.
Now watch the lightning.
Yep. Yep. Nice,
Flash, flash,
nice.
flash.
Yeah, nice rhythmic. Bum 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 bum.
Yep.
And I
And
love
it's something I'd
Salah.
never noticed.
Like Salah's look here. He's just like, "Are we gonna do this? Or and there's still snakes here. And there's Nazis out there. We need to get this done. Come on, like any day now." So I've also always been kind of bothered. I don't know. It's weird how much I love this movie. I'm kind of nitpicking here, but it's fun to do that. When they lift this up, like how much Salah is clearly straining. Um,
Hmm.
I, I don't like that part there where it's kind of like got his mouth open. Indy does. It just didn't. I didn't buy the strain on his face. Just weird. I know. Super nitpick, but what is this stuff? It's liquid pot. That's why we're laughing. Okay, he's clearly joking because I just looked at the label and it's in Arabic.
Yeah.
So never noticed that before. Now I know he's joking. Finally, a lifelong question answered right here on the commentary.
Well, maybe his label is so prevalent that they.
no, no, no.
No,
He's
probably not.
joking. Yeah. But that kind of shattered it because I actually thought for a while, like after as a kid, I always thought I was joking, and then for whatever reason, like I've heard different analysis of like how, um, he's a wino. I think people took that line seriously, and now in high definition, guess what? Now we know. Always overdressing for the wrong occasion. That sentence just doesn't make a lot of sense.
Really, dude? You're wearing a black suit in the desert.
Right? Right?
I'm pretty sure you're overdressed.
Yeah, with your nunchucks clothes hanger. and, and apparently this didn't really exist. They built this just for the gag. Like that's not a real thing that exists in the world. Which I'm kind of disappointed by, to be honest with you. What shall we talk about? Just so nasally and weaselly and I hate that guy.
Creepy. Just
Yeah,
creepy.
really, truly. So, did they have these handle things there? Did they bring them down, or was this like in the corner? You know, inquiring minds
A
want to
good
know.
question.
Yeah.
I always wanted a replica of the Ark somewhere.
Same. It'd be great to have one, like as like a toy chest or something.
Oh yeah. But I love the they had one that's probably, 6 inches wide. You know what I mean? It's a smaller replica. And I've always wanted a replica of the fertility idol. I always wanted a replica of the
Yep.
the headpiece to the
Staff
staff of Ra, all
of Ra.
that stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely. At one point I would have wanted to have had like you said, like it would have to be scale, obviously. To have them all in one little place, like on a shelf or something. But like the ark, the headpiece, um, the idol, the rocks from Temple of Doom, Holy Grail,
Yep.
and just because I'm a completionist, even a crystal skull, I don't care. It'd be fine. It'd be fine.
That's one of the things too that I remember, as a kid, I used to, I was real interested in the Ark of the Covenant, like
Mm-hmm.
what was the deal with it? And the whole idea that it was like some sort of electrical charge on it, and that's why they had to be carried the way they had to be carried, because if you touched it, it would electrocute you and kill you. Which was always kind of an interesting thing that you had to use wood planks or wood, poles to carry the thing. It's kind of
Mm-hmm.
interesting.
This scene,
Hello.
yeah, this always pissed me off as a kid. Like I like you asshole. And the first time I ever said the word bastard was because of this movie. It's a true story. My parents were not very happy about that. What was briefly yours is now mine. He sure does like his own voice, doesn't he?
I've always liked that line though. You
Yeah.
know, who knows? Maybe someday even you'll
Maybe you
be
might be
worth
worth
something.
something. Sounds good. See ya. Then she goes down.
And that had to hurt.
Oh, upskirt, curve. A great shot with the snake going through the shoe like that.
Oh yeah.
And boom.
So good.
She's just like, I'm not going down on the floor. I didn't do it.
Toad laughing.
Oh yeah, he's got a great laugh. There it is. Just a
Yeah.
little weasel. Oh, and ABC very wisely, that was a commercial break right there. Pretty cool. It actually kind
Yep.
of like had some sting to it. Like this entire film, like it feels like a serial. A lot of the scene changes lend themselves to like you could see it being the like, what's Indiana Jones going to do next week? Like you could see it. Like it
Right.
really.
Exactly.
And then they're in the middle of mortal danger and they're just arguing.
Well, that sure ripped very cleanly.
Right, right. It's convenient.
I mean, it's a good thing since you're going to be running later.
Right. Of course, through that wall. But this whole sequence, like always, just because that's a real set. Like they had to build these statues and everything. Crazy.
I know.
It's crazy. And this
A
was
bargain. Whatever the budget was,
they
bargain.
yeah because I think the budget was like 20 million. I think, which sounds like a lot, but when you consider like all the moving parts to all this stuff, like can you imagine how much it cost to do a reset on any of those extra scenes? Holy shit!
I don't want to. Yeah.
No.
Logistically, this movie would be a nightmare,
Oh god. Yeah.
but so good.
Yeah.
So well done.
Yeah. This part was filmed at Elstree Studios, as I recall. This is one of their big set pieces for obvious reasons. Um, you see the rope that he's hanging onto on there?
Mm.
I guess it's supposed to be his whip, but I don't know. This whole sequence here, when I was a kid, scared the piss out of me.
Oh, I know. I
Ugh.
couldn't. I couldn't. Well, let's see. I remember seeing this in the theater. Because I was 5, I
Mm-hmm.
think, when this came out, and I wouldn't watch. I didn't watch this scene till I was like 34 or something.
Yeah.
No. I remember being very old. The Lots older. Like I wouldn't watch it even like probably 12 or 13. It probably still scared me.
Oh
But
yeah.
then I watched it. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
It just
And it's mostly the sound design.
yeah, it's Ben Burt. Ben Burt's the one doing all the scaring. Like right here, like
Ah,
that's crazy. And her screams
it's so
don't help.
creepy looking.
And then obviously,
And
I
it's
love.
funny how many directors later did the same. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, yeah, you're right. But I just like the fact that Indy signals to both Marion and the audience that it's okay. You can look at it's okay. You can look at the screen again.
Right.
There's something about one of my favorite sound effects ever in film history is in this scene. It's when during this fight, when they cut to Indy go running and almost hitting the propeller, and it's real close to camera, and it's like just the way it sounds. There's something about it.
Mm.
Just love that sound. No, I never noticed the record player sitting there.
But look at that. The little. Yeah.
God, it's so lyrical. Um, this was back when composers actually wrote music to the scene rather than writing a piece of music for the scene and just letting it go. I don't know what happened in the last 15 years with movie scores, but they suck now. Even great composers are just turning in shit, in my opinion. Unless you're Martin, who does our film, and he's amazing. That's different.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's funny too. The big heavy here,
yeah,
right?
same
The
guy in
same
all three
guy that
movies.
he
Yeah,
plays. Yep.
didn't he also play the heavy in Nepal too?
Uh, I'm not sure. I'm
I've
honestly not
I've
sure, but
always
I know he plays the big guy that Indy fights in Temple of Doom.
yep, and then he was also in Last Crusade, but not as that traditional fighting. I think he was ill by that point or something, but he is in the film in
Mm.
some small capacity. It's like, come on. For some reason, when I hear that biting sound, I always think of corn on the cob. I don't know why.
Yeah.
It's weird.
I always thought that was funny. It's like he gets hit on the right side of his face, but then he spins to the right, which
Right.
doesn't really make sense.
Not a lot of sense though.
Momentum would dictate that if you get hit on the right, you would spin to your left, but no, he spins into the punch.
Right. So now we're arguing the semantics and physics of Indiana Jones.
Hey, you know,
I'm just saying. Can you imagine how hot it must have been in that cockpit?
I
Ugh,
don't even want to think about it.
man, it's crazy.
Ugh, so just cooking in there.
Oh yeah. I have the rhythm of the.
Again, think about.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, think about the pacing here.
Oh yeah.
There's so much going on, and
Yep.
it just doesn't stop.
But I have all the rhythm of the machine gun in my head all the time. Um, just every little all the Foley stuff, it's just in my head. I could just in my head play the whole movie. Right here. Here it is. Here it is. I love that sound for some reason. I don't know why. I just love it.
Yep.
Yeah. It's just a cool thing.
Yep. It sounds awesome.
Yeah. I've been trying to figure out a way to loop it because I want to use it on the record. So if I could get it to loop properly, it'd be kind of cool underneath like certain like guitar parts and stuff. Ow.
I used to have, I mean, long ago, I used to have a collection of some of the sound effects from the Lucasfilm archives. I gotta find that again.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. Just to go through it. I've got
Yeah.
sound effects from like G.I. Joe and Transformers on MP3. I'm not sure where I got it from. Ah! What's funny is that this film was PG at the time, as we all know, and as such should be able to be shown on TV. But when they did it on TV for ABC, that second blood splatter on the cockpit, you don't see.
Yep.
Kind of crazy. I always was,
and they also cut down. I remember.
Mhm.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say when they were running that rhythm of how in sync their legs were always fascinated me. I thought it was great. But go ahead.
I was just gonna say there's another thing they cut is when, in the bar, the shot where you think Indy's been shot, but Marion shot the bad guy.
Yeah.
The image of the blood coming out of his mouth, they cut that down as well. It's one of those weird things. It's like,
it's slowed down.
Why would you? Okay, just
I'm so
decisions
pleased.
they make to make cuts for a movie on TV.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's for time. I would assume, because a lot of times, like in the case of like the special edition of Aliens that we talked about last time, stuff was added in to pad out the runtime of the film. So like, and I was like, why would you show the longer version on TV? Like, why? Like, what reason would you have to do that? Then it hit me: advertising dollars. Because you can show more ads on a movie that you can, stretch out to 3 hours. Makes perfect sense. Very cynical thing, but I bet you it is true. And then sometimes like you have like these weird distribution deals where different cuts of the film have different distribution rights and shit. It's weird. Movies are weird like that. I love Salah has some doubt here. He's like, how? I don't know. Making this up as I go. Which is to a certain degree true.
All ADR.
Oh yeah. He's like, all ADR. But this whole sequence here,
I always thought Salah's how sounded weird.
Oh. Yeah.
But anyway.
This music that starts here, Desert Chase, I used to play this on drums all the time. Like it was like a couple times a week thing. I just loved playing along with this piece of music. This whole action sequence, like I would watch this over and over again as a kid. But it's just perfect. Like we're almost to the third act here, and this movie just breezes the fuck by, man. It's crazy. Boom, boom.
Oh yeah.
Like I know this is an orchestra, but that's fucking heavy. Love that. I love the reaction of the guys. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what the fuck, bro?
What are you shooting at me for?
The fuck?
They don't see Indy, right?
No, they don't. Whoop! Take a break. This is one of the funniest fights ever, because they go through this whatever this is. Was it a market or something? But then the guy, the one Arab, like lands on the thing, and they both laugh.
Right.
I don't know why, but
William.
Yeah, what is this? Why do they have all those like melons or whatever the fuck?
Yeah.
Like up that high? I don't know. right here. Huh? Boom. Ow. Can you imagine the pain?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Do not want to be a stunt guy.
No, no, no. Cut him off. And like as a kid, I didn't know what this was, but this is apparently like how they were. That was how their water got from one place. That's their irrigation system, basically.
Right.
Which again, that's an attention to detail. It's kind of crazy. Like they don't have to do that. Isn't there a cut of
Didn't
the movie where
realize
he
that was
actually
a
says,
curse
"Oh,
word until later.
yeah, yeah"? It was actually an English swear. He actually says, "Oh shit," as I recall. And then they
Yeah.
switched it to the German version, and then the TV version he said "Vas schwein." It's not even a real word. I think they just reversed his sound. They just, you know, it still sounds German. It's fine.
Oh, here's one of your
Opticals, yeah.
effect shots. Yeah, just does not look good in 4K. I'll tell
No,
you.
no, the background's really grainy, but the motion was always really good. Like the like I totally bought that those were human beings that fell out of the cart. You know, for some reason, the dude with the black hair on the other side, that when he looks through the side mirror, always reminded me of the lead actor from the Black Sheep Squadron TV show. I don't know why. Probably because my dad was watching it at the time that I got into the movie. I don't know. Wilhelm scream.
There's the other Wilhelm.
It is. Ooh.
Man, that is such a. They really used the blood bags to effect there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's definitely some blood.
And door. I always
Yeet.
thought that was funny. It's like not only the guy, but the door came off too,
Oh yeah.
which was important to show because
Well, yeah. But I feel like that's entirely plausible. Because we're talking about cars made in the 30s, right? It's not like cars from that
right.
era are known for being durable. Like they were still experimenting with how to build cars in the first place. There's just something about that.
Here
Like,
we go.
yep. Now
Man.
apparently the toy they did have a toy of this truck. They had the whole Desert Chase like sequence as like a little playset thing, which is weird because it's like, how do you do that with the road? But they had the truck and everything, and the truck had this little string on it that you could attach the figure to, and if you flicked the switch when you drove the truck along, he would actually pull himself up to the truck. It's kind of cool,
Mm.
kind of freaky, like the amount of detail they had in there. I always love this insert shot.
And how dangerous is this stunt?
They did it slower. I mean, it is
But
really dangerous.
still.
Yeah, but they apparently they did it at like half speed and then sped the film back up
Right.
so that it would be safer for him to do it.
But still.
Oh yeah, it would hurt like hell.
Super scary.
I never looked at his reaction before. Like when
Yeah.
he just looks over, and goes, huh? And poof. Ow! This punch right here. I feel that punch right there. Oh, and like the look on Indy's face, he's not even worried about the guy in the front anymore. He's just like
Yep.
that second vocalization he does when he hits the ground. I always hated. Ooh! I always hated that. Yeah, I was like, what? Wouldn't you say a word or something? Ugh, that was a classic Ben Burt metal on metal sound.
Mm.
Good old Ben Burt. Idiot. And this was always interesting. They were just ready to do that. Like, what? Did they like arrange
Yep,
that? Like, what was that about?
they planned it.
I guess, yeah.
Sala knows people.
Well, yeah. His home turf. You want some melons, bro? Want some melons? No, my
Have your
melons.
melons. And do you hear the dog whimper? Like he hit a dog with the melon?
Yeah, it's horrible. And like Spielberg was always very good at painting Nazis in a negative light, as one should.
I'm not only gonna crush your melon, but I'm gonna I'm gonna hit a dog with it.
I'm gonna crush your melon and hit your dog. I love this Katanga character. I wish we had more time with him. Your appearance is exactly the way I imagined. Apparently, the ship that they got for this part, when they originally commissioned it, it looked the way it looks now, but it had been repainted right before they took it on. They're like, "This isn't right." And I think something similar happened in
Hmm.
Jaws.
Sala's the best.
Oh, it
I
really
love
is.
this look on his face. It's just
He's like, "We could fuck you know." Just it was perfect.
he's just stunned and then just pure joy.
Yep. And this is a hell of a great send off for a character, honestly. Um,
Eh.
because they knew they were going to do a series. Like that was always the plan, just like with Star Wars. They always knew they were going to do like a series of films. Shit. Um, and you never, even when you know you're going to make a series of films, you don't have all three scripts necessarily, and they certainly did in the case of Indiana Jones. So I love that character gets that kind of an exit out of the mythology at that point because we don't know if he's going to come back or whatever. Really cool way
Right.
to send him off. A lot of characters don't get that kind of shit. Fucking mirror. Can you imagine how much that must have hurt? Here it goes,
Oh.
and boom. What'd you say? Great gag. And I love this whole thing of him just like being older. Um but like in this
Right.
I wonder like what age he actually is at this point. Like the characters I'm guessing like 35,
Yeah.
maybe 32.
Well, there's always that thing at the beginning where they're talking about how, she was young and he did
Right.
stuff and
Yeah.
it was wrong and you knew it and all that kind of stuff. It's always one of those things that's always been like, okay, do we? Yeah, I don't know if I want to.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I'm
I don't know how
guessing
old he's supposed to be, but
right. And obviously you hope that there's some honor there for sure, but uh
yeah,
there,
right.
there's a possibility that Indiana Jones, bit of a pedophile there. Fun. But he's smooth, as illustrated here.
It's still kind of a just
Best not to think
beautiful,
about it.
romantic,
Yeah,
all that kind of stuff.
sure.
The music's great. By the way,
Hmm.
Katanga, um, always wondered he was another one of those actors, where you see him, he's very recognizable. He plays Kingsley Shacklebolt in one of the Harry Potter movies. So
Really?
I thought that was kind of interesting. Yeah.
Here's another.
Ah,
Here's
this
another one of
sound.
those. Yeah, I want to know how he did this.
Well, he said Ben Burt said that this is the only time in this movie where he used a synthesizer, and it got a really it's the same synthesizer used for R2D2,
Mm-hmm.
and he just put some sounds through it and just made it ominous and almost otherworldly, which
It definitely
worked.
worked. Definitely. Yeah.
But yeah, man, Ben Burt. I just wish I could sit down with him just for a little bit.
I love the delivery uh, from the actor playing Katanga
Yep.
here. Just you feel the urgency of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Small world. Boom. How? Immediately, just.
I always loved that.
Do you find it interesting that the burn marks are in the same shape as the I guess the banners, I guess you would call them, that they hold at the end when they're doing the
Well, what?
actual.
Yeah, and that's what I love about it is that it's like God doesn't like any of that.
Nope.
He burned it all off.
It's
You
like,
know.
F you guys. No trace. Kill him. Just I don't know why that makes me laugh. I kill him. Great character. Smart move on his part too. Like it's crazy. It's interesting to note too that this happens in 1936. So this is before the Second World War even started. Um, this is like really early in the whole Third Reich deal. Um, but you still get to see uh, like inklings of where the Nazi Party is going to go, and then even Last Crusade happens before the America got into the war.
By the way, you can tell she may not be wearing underwear right there. And wow, it's for
What
PG. That's pretty risque.
what you saw some bush or something?
Yeah, yeah. You can see some. Hey,
You can see some
hey.
stuff.
You've seen this movie a lot. You notice things.
That's true. I never went looking for that though. So learn something about you today, pal. I'm just kidding. I'm not
Can
gonna
I
sit here
say,
and
man?
I get it. I get it.
This was always a big question for
Yeah,
me.
like how the hell did he get
Yeah,
that
I can
far
believe
that
that he.
fast?
Yeah, but then they obviously go under, right?
Yeah,
So what's
yeah.
his plan here? Well, I'm just gonna go in the
Well,
top hatch
look at
here.
what he does right here. He's like, now what?
Yeah, yeah, and then all of a sudden they submerge.
Yeah. So
Um,
how did he do that?
yeah,
Yeah, it's a little weird,
but just go with it. That's what they say. Just go with it.
right?
It's not important, but logistically, it seems.
Right. Ugh, hate that.
You don't have a movie if your main star drowns
Right, right,
on the
right.
way to the
Yeah.
finale.
Nazis drown Indiana Jones, and then they take the Ark and they get killed anyway because they don't have to be there for that to have happened. And that's it. That's it. That's the end of it. Yep. Sorry. Bye. Nazis are really unobservant. I I find that in this film that they just really don't pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
I love that Foley, which is
So,
just a baseball bat hitting
oh
leather.
yeah,
Is what that is.
yeah. But it's one of those things too that I love. Uh, It reminds me of Die Hard. It's like
Oh yeah,
however many terrorists in the world, and I gotta kill one with feet smaller than my sister.
yeah.
Right? Same sort of thing here.
Doesn't even notice the unconscious Nazi at his feet and starts berating him about his
Right.
uniform. Right in the ooh.
Catch that hat.
Yeah. Wow, that guy was really chewing into
Very
that.
James Bond.
Yes, yes. His accent, he's just like, "Hey, I'm German. I'm so German right now." I love how Belloc is like, "Well, we're going to do this ritual. Do you want to do it now, or do you want to do it in front of Hitler?" Like, choice is yours, bro. You let me know what's more appropriate. What a smug bastard that guy is.
Yeah. He's so good. He's so good in this role.
Mm-hmm. I love how Indy just can't resist. Just can't resist. It's really risky move on his part. Kind of stupid, to be honest.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
but he
Just
was
kind of
just like,
throws it. Yeah. You're
like,
just,
"Fuck, I hate you, dude."
nope. Got to check him.
Yep, yep.
And this is the same canyon as in the beginning
Mm-hmm.
of Star Wars,
Yep. I think they just did it in reverse. I think they just did
where
it.
this is shot. It's very,
Yeah, exact same thing where R2D2 goes.
yeah. The Jawas.
Mm-hmm. What's interesting to me is that they um, shot a lot of Cairo
Yeah.
was in Tunisia,
Warm
and then
in
of
that
course,
black suit there.
yeah, right, crazy. But this is obviously also Tunisia because of this is where they did the R2D2 thing. But yet this is doubling for a totally different place, which is kind of interesting to me.
Right.
Just got an RPG. It's crazy.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah. What should Indiana Jones say here? Hello. That works. Tote just sits down. He's like, fuck this. Like, I'm done.
Yeah. The famous fly
Ugh,
goes into Belloc's mouth.
it's crazy. Like he did not break character or
Yeah.
anything. That's impressive, man. He's like, damn right, you want the girl. I love how he says, if we refuse. Like, what do you think he's gonna do? He's got a grenade launcher pointed at the Ark of the Covenant. What do you think's gonna happen? I never understood this move on his part. Like, why? Why? Why grab a gun? And why do it that way? I don't understand that.
I think Belloc is fed up with the Germans at this point. He goes, I don't give a crap. I want to see this thing open.
That's fair.
That's how I always took it.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I also bought his sincerity of what he's saying to Jones here.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, don't blow it up. I'm like, come on. Like,
Yeah.
you can't.
Whatever you do, don't blow it up.
I'm like, come on, man. Like, she's cute, but is she that cute? It's kind of what he's
Crossfade.
saying. Is she blow up the ark cute? I think I'm gonna
Right.
coin that now. Like, how cute? How cute is your new girlfriend? Is she blow up the ark cute, or like the sacrifices one would make and all that stuff? And of course, the infamous faces melting, deflating, burning off. I love how they were going to get an R rating because of the scene, and then all they did with his head exploding is just put fire over the top of it, so you couldn't really see it, and that was good enough for the MPAA apparently.
And by the way, right here, listen to the sound of the lid of the ark coming off.
You mean Ben Burt's toilet?
Yep. It's the top of his toilet seat, or is the toilet bowl thing.
Yep.
It's
Perfect.
so fun. It's like, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
But it gives it there's a quality to that sound. It's so good.
Oh, the reaction here is priceless. He's like, what do you mean there's sand in there?
It's funny too because as a kid, you couldn't really see what happens to Belloc except there's just like this. It looks like an explosion, but you don't really see it. Man, in 4K, wow,
You see it.
It's wow. it's like wow, you can really see a lot of that. Of course, it's like a dummy or whatever, but it is, yeah,
Really good.
kind of frightful.
I remember there's an extra on
The
the
sound right here too. Oh,
yeah, yeah, where they show how they do Totes face melting and stuff. And there's some YouTube channel they recreated it. They try to do the exact same thing,
yeah,
and it got pretty close. Pretty cool. And a lot of these ghosts, when they're floating around, they are basically they were filmed against a black background in water to achieve the thing, which was interesting to me. No matter how much dry ice no matter how much the smoke machines go, don't look.
yeah.
ILM gets to have their fun here, and it's interesting to remember that they don't see any of this. You know, Indy and Marion don't get to see. They're just hearing this. I think that's really telling.
Yeah, these are like just marionettes, like in
Mm-hmm.
water, right? You said
Yep. Mm-hmm. Except for that one. That was actually a lady
that's so cool.
on wires. And I forget the guy's name that did the effects here, but he also went on to do Ghostbusters. So you can kind of see the roots of all.
Yeah,
Spielberg is on
that's so
record as saying
cool.
this is the best for him, the best effect of the film, which I agree. That's crazy because you see the storyboards of it, and then the effect. You're like, wow, they really stepped it up. Whoop, there it is. There it is. Oh,
So good. And then
boom, there it. Oh, yeah. I didn't notice his hands going like blowing out before either. That's crazy.
yeah,
It's amazing, like how many things, like in a movie as well made as this, just how you could just notice these details you never saw before. I want to know how they did that, where the clouds part like that. That's crazy.
yeah, it's very cool.
And I think that the god
It's
of
probably
this.
something really simple too.
Oh yeah, probably water. I love God's sense of humor here. Like it never happened.
Yeah, it's great. So good.
Yep. Just the and I love the implication, after the fact of what if they did wait to open the ark until they went to Berlin? Like, what would that have done to human history?
Mm, yep.
Crazy.
That's actually, I never actually made that connection.
Yeah.
That if they did wait to open it for Hitler,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
no World War II.
Nope.
So in a way, Indiana Jones, that son of a.
This is your fault. This guy's such an asshole. Thought we
And who's the guy in the background there?
he's Guy. I don't know. I have no idea what his purpose is. Like I would think like Secret Service or something, but he's a little old to be Secret Service.
Yeah.
He looks like the coroner from Jaws. Top men.
How many times have you said that in your life?
Oh man, like way too many times.
Yep, me too.
Does the color of his hat throw you off at all here? It looks gray instead of brown.
Yeah. Well, it is. It's a different hat.
Is it?
It matches his suit, kind
Yeah.
of. Well, not
Okay.
really. I
Yeah.
guess. That's gray. That's totally gray, though.
Right. You notice the blurriness at the top of the frame?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's weird.
it's strange.
Yeah.
And what goodies are in this room?
Well, we find out some of it in Crystal Skull. Ha! Yeah. Supposedly,
Hey!
supposedly in the opening of Crystal Skull, like this is the same warehouse. Apparently, supposed to be the same place.
Well, I mean, the Ark is there
Yeah, it's true.
in a shot in Crystal Skull.
Right.
It shows a box kind of half broken. And you
Yep.
can see the angels on top of the Ark.
Look at that matte
But-
painting, though. Holy shit. It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's Raiders of the Lost Ark. Holy cannoli. What a great movie.
Yeah. One of the best.
Yeah. Kathleen Kennedy, associate to Mr. Spielberg.
Yep.
She's been around. Like a lot of people give her a lot of crap, but she's been around the block, you know? Ron Cobb. I didn't know Ron Cobb was on this. See,
Yes. What?
What'd you say?
Huh?
Huh? What?
I just said yes, sir.
Oh, yeah. See,
But yeah.
I'm a habitual credit watcher now. Van Burt, there he is.
Yep.
But I miss this time when movie credits were easy to read. Now they're like
Right. Well,
they're hard to read now. But there's so many people involved. Like I get it. Like I totally get it. Dr. Felicity Hodder. I wonder if anyone called Dr. Hodder Dr. Hottie. Look how small that second unit was. Crazy. There's only like a dozen people on second unit.
yeah. Man, it really is just amazing when you think about how few people put this movie together. And I mean,
How many
it's
people started
amazing.
making?
It's an amazing
how
movie.
many people were inspired to start making movies because of this movie? You know,
Ridiculous amount of people.
Like a lot of people, like their first ever like at home VHS movie or whatever was recreating Indiana Jones stuff. Like there's tons of stuff out there. There was a whole documentary about this one guy who like did a shot for shot remake of Raiders of the Lost Ark over like what was it, like 15 years or something? It's crazy.
Yeah.
Indonesian unit.
Such a good movie though. I mean, it's hard to like for me, the most difficult thing is what's the best Spielberg movie? Is it Raiders or is it Jaws? It's so hard for me to choose. Love both of them so much, but man, Raiders is good. Oh,
I would
so
say
good.
that for Spielberg, if those are the two choices, it's got to be Jaws because that's totally him. Whereas this is, it's a Lucas Spielberg joint. You know what I mean? So,
right,
because this isn't a pure Spielberg film. You know what I mean? Pat Roach, our stunt guy. Wait, isn't it twice? Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. So that just proved that Pat Roach, that's the big guy. He was the big Sherpa.
Yep.
So that would be from Nepal, and then also mechanic guy. So we just confirmed that I was right. That he was both.
And did you see that Frank Marshall, the producer, was the
Mm-hmm.
pilot, was Jock,
Yep,
right?
sure was.
Oh, show a little
All right.
backbone, will ya?
Show a
That
little
guy.
background. Well,
Ah, Raiders.
that was our commentary for Raiders of the Lost Ark, which ends as it began on the Paramount logo. Rob, thanks so much for being on the show again, and I guess we'll see you on
Thanks
the
for
next
having
one.
me.
Yeah, of course, man, of course. Bye,
Ah.
everybody.